So good evening, everyone, and welcome to Tuesday night meditations, coming to you from Vajrayana Institute. I hope everyone is well and staying safe. So we usually begin just by settling the body and relaxing the body. So make sure you're comfortable. You can either sit on a chair or on a cushion on the floor. The most important thing is to have your spine straight, but not rigid. So sitting comfortably and breathing normally. And let's just take some time to scan the body and get rid of any tension that we may be holding without even being aware of it. So bring your awareness to the top of your head. And then slowly move down over the forehead. What we're trying to achieve, or what we will achieve, is just having this sense of openness, spaciousness, relaxation. So check to see, perhaps you're frowning because you could be trying to concentrate on relaxing. And focusing on all those muscles around the eyes. And any time you notice that there's tension in the body, just release that tension with the out-breath. Relaxing all the muscles in your face. Relax the eyes themselves, soft, gentle, not trying to focus on anything with the eyes. The same kind of gaze that you have when you're daydreaming. Moving down the face over the cheekbones. Covering the area around the mouth. Relaxing. Releasing. Letting go. Check that you're not clenching your jaw. Relax the jaw. If you have your mouth a tiny bit open, that ensures that you're not clenching your jaw. And slowly moving back to the top of the head and down the back of the head to the base of the skull. Just feeling the whole of the head relaxed. as one of my teachers says, think of your face like when you see the face of a sleeping baby. Then coming to the tops of the shoulders. Often a lot of tension here, especially if we've been working on our computers. So you might want to raise your shoulders up and let them drop down a couple of times or 3 times, whatever feels right. So now we're going to travel down the backbone, checking the shoulder blades as we go past, pausing there if you need to. And with each breath, having the sense that you're relaxing more and more. Moving all the way down to the base of the spine. Allowing gravity to help you to relax. Coming back to the tops of the shoulders and moving down the front of the body, the upper area of the chest, the diaphragm, the belly. Just enjoying the sense of the whole trunk, the head and the trunk, relaxed, stable, still, supported, and safe. Again, gently coming back to the shoulders, checking the neck. Is there tension there? Then moving down the shoulders to your elbows. Either resting your hands in your lap, right hand on top of left, with thumbs lightly touching, or resting your hands palm down on your thighs or your knees. Very important to be comfortable, relaxed. And it's hard to relax if you're not comfortable. So from our elbows, let's move down to our wrists. and wrists to hands, palms of the hands, back of the hands. Go all the way to the fingertips. Feeling the weight of the body. Then bring our awareness to the hip joints. Traveling down through the thighs to the knees. And then from the knees to the ankles, being aware of your calf muscles, or shins, your ankles, and your feet, the top of your feet, the soles of your feet, going all the way to the tips of your toes. Just sitting quietly, enjoying the feeling of the body at ease. And then traveling from the tips of the toes, doing a quicker scan but not feeling rushed, going all the way back to the top of your head. Just checking for any areas of tension that you might have missed on the way down. Still, peaceful, relaxed, safe. And because body and mind are very closely connected, by now our mind should be fairly calm. So let's take a few moments to set a positive motivation. Opening our hearts, connecting with everybody on the planet, and particularly at this difficult time. I think we have a deeper understanding how we're all interconnected and how there's nobody who wants to suffer, and that everybody without exception wants to be happy and well and to be at peace. So think that you're doing this meditation not only for your own benefit, but for the benefit of everybody else on this planet. and make this wish as sincere as possible, based on the understanding of our shared humanity. So we're going to do some breathing meditation, and the task, as I often say, and as many of my teachers said, breathing meditation is simple, but that doesn't mean that it's easy. But it's very important that we approach the meditation with a relaxed mind, and particularly if we're new to meditation, we should be very gentle with ourselves and not give ourselves a hard time if our mind continuously wanders away from the object of our focus, which is, of course, the breath. So you can focus on the breath as it enters and leaves the nostrils. That's usually the most common focal point. Or you can focus on the rise and fall of the abdomen. Whichever method you choose, just stay with that for the whole of the meditation. So we're going to do our best to merge our awareness with the breath. And there's a part of our mind that is acting like a sentry that notices when the mind wanders. Our mind might be carried away by thoughts, might be carried away by sounds, it might be carried away by an itch or an ache. Regardless of what distracts us, as soon as you notice, bring your awareness again and again back to the breath. So let's begin. Relaxed, and at the same time, an alert mind. again and again, merging your awareness with the breath. Of course, during our breathing meditation, we should sit as still as possible. But if we notice that we've slumped over or that our shoulders have started to rise up, means we're concentrating too hard, it's perfectly okay to adjust your posture. If you're having trouble focusing, it can sometimes be helpful to count the breaths. One inhalation and exhalation, that's one. Breathing in, breathing out, two. Breathing in, breathing out, three. Counting up to 10. And if you lose your focus at 5 or 6, start again at 1. Once the mind is settled again, you can drop the counting. Some find it useful, some find it annoying. There's no right or wrong. If it works for you, that's fine. And if it doesn't, that's fine too. Remember, you're training the mind to learn to focus. And any kind of training requires us to be firm, determined, and at the same time, a gentleness, not beating ourselves up. Not bringing tension. Oh, I have to keep my mind on the breath. Knowing what your goal is and bringing the mind back again and again. That's all. How wonderful that our normally distracted mind that is rushing here and there, going back to the past, rushing into the future, worrying about the present, has now had some time to just be here now with the breath. Nothing else to do. So a little stretch, a little sip of your drink if you've got one with you. So normally after breathing meditation, we do what's called analytical meditation. And the one that I chose to do today, or this evening, initially I hesitated because it's a meditation on equanimity. Equanimity is very important. It's very touching. It's a very powerful meditation. And the first time I did this meditation, I ended up with tears in my eyes. But I think that it's important that we are able to look at the suffering in the world, and that when we see suffering, rather than being overwhelmed with sadness and despair, then acknowledging that suffering should be for us an impetus to develop our loving kindness, our compassion, our wisdom and our tolerance, as well as, being a springboard for us to do whatever we can on a practical level to alleviate the suffering. So this meditation is really about teaching us not to judge so quickly in any situation. And it will be self-explanatory. So let's be brave. Again, just touch base with your motivation. And now, imagine that well hidden in a forest, there is a small clearing. In the middle, below a grass-covered mound of earth, there is a foxhole. This is the home of a beautiful young female fox and her 4 babies. It is early spring, but it's still frosty, and the surface of a small brook that runs just in front of the foxhole is still partially frozen. Inside, the 4 little foxes are constantly hungry. And so the new mother is very busy, moving frequently in and out of the den to feed her little ones. Pause for a moment and try to visualize this vividly. One day, the mother fox steps out into the pitch black darkness of the early morning, carefully takes scent, then starts to slowly trot along her habitual path close to the brook. After only a few steps, she walks into the heavy metal trap that was set there, skillfully hidden under dry leaves and tiny twigs. The sudden violence of the trap's huge jaws closing around her right hind leg throws the animal to the ground, and a terrible wave of excruciating pain penetrates the fox's crooked body. Writhing in mad confusion, she forcefully tries to pull her leg out of the trap. But with every movement of her body, the well-sharpened teeth of the trap penetrate deeper into her torn flesh, and she cannot escape. She tries again and again, helplessly twisting her body in all directions, but to no avail. She pauses, but the power of her instinct, of survival, and of motherly responsibility urges the mother fox to quickly continue her hopeless struggle. This instinct now tells her to sacrifice her leg in order to free herself. So she starts gnawing on her hind leg. She sinks her teeth into her own flesh, tearing away at it, biting, gnawing, ripping her skin off, and whimpering from time to time in her agonizing pain. But the trap's jaws snared her thigh too close to the body, and her violent biting causes her to bleed more and more. And with another instinct, the mother fox abandons her desperate attempt to sever the leg from her body. And for the first time since she has been caught in the trap, the excruciating pain, maddening terror, rage, and despair overwhelm the fox mother, and the hoarse wailing of the tormented animal pierces the cold silence of the forest. At this point, pause and imagine this vividly. Some 10 to 15 miles away, a trapper sits in front of his cabin, cleaning his rifle. The day before, while carrying firewood, he slipped on a wet branch and seriously hurt his foot. Being hardly able to walk, he decided to forego for today the daily round of checking his traps. The trapper knows well that fur trapping is prohibited during the period of reproduction. But having spent almost 2 full winter months sick and bedridden, he now considers the trapping essential to ensure his own material well-being, and indeed, his own survival. Again, pause and imagine this vividly. The dim light of the next day's cold morning finds our mother fox dead. Her distorted body is covered with blood and mud and urine. Her tarnished eyes, wide open in terror, face the leaden sky. They are the eyes of a young female fox that died of loss of blood, exhaustion and cold, and of a broken heart of a mother who knows her children will die. At this point, pause for a while and really observe the meditation's effect on your mind. And now let's continue to meditate, taking time to analyze the following points. According to the Buddhist teachings, it is most probable that I carry in my mind stream numberless karmic potentials apt to project me into a life similar to that of the mother fox, her babies, or the trapper. Consider the nature of karma, the importance of purification, and the opportunities of one's own precious life. Closely examine the way in which the mother fox and the trapper appear to exist in the perceiving mind. Notice feelings, judgments, and certainties. Would my view of victim and evildoer change if I imagined the fox killing a litter of helpless newborn rabbits? What happens if I visualize the trapper risking his life to journey several days in the dead of winter in order to assure a veterinarian's treatment for one of his dogs that has been severely injured? I should examine the true nature of my perceptions and how things are. Contemplate. If I feel compassion for the fox and her babies, but aversion or hatred toward the trapper, then I haven't even started to understand the Buddha's message of universal responsibility toward all beings. I can cut myself off completely from another by my judgment. Without impartiality, great compassion can never arise. Consider the possibility of feeling equal love and compassion for both the foxes and the trapper. Then consider, in fact, the objects worthy of the most intense compassion and care are definitely those sentient beings who cause great harm to others because they are in danger of incurring the greatest, most terrible sufferings. What is my habitual response to those who cause harm to others? Let's conclude by directing any beneficial energy in doing this meditation, to work directly on your mind toward the rapid, complete, and unobstructed attainment of the realizations that we need to achieve for the benefit of all beings, all foxes, all trappers, and all suffering sentient beings. So let's pray that we're able to, by working on our own minds, we're able to develop equanimity, loving kindness, compassion for every single living being on this planet. So may you all be well, stay safe, and enjoy the rest of your evening. And just check out our program so that you know what's on, and feel free to tune in to whatever appeals to you. Because this was quite intense and may have been upsetting, perhaps we'll just take a few moments in case people have any questions with regard to this meditation. So there's no such thing as a silly question. Or feel free to comment. So let's rejoice that we don't have fox hunting in Australia. And we can also dedicate the positive energy to any friends, family, anybody who's unwell, all the people who are sick with the virus, all of the other sufferings on the planet that are still here that we sometimes forget about. So let's send out our love and compassion to everybody. And don't forget yourself. Okay, thank you very much for being with me. And I may see some of you tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Okay, good night.